Hey everyone. So today we looked at Tim Burton's short movie Vincent, and if you haven't watched it yet, can you stop this and go back and watch that? It's in this playlist, and also if you just YouTube Tim Burton Vincent, it should pop up. Vincent Price was somebody I could identify with. When you're younger, things look bigger. You find your own mythology. You find what psychologically connects to you. This quote by Tim Burton provides some background as to why he really wanted to make this movie and how he really identifies with this character of Vincent. So we've got the character of Vincent, who lives in a conventional family life in a bland, featureless house, and outwardly we see that Vincent's conforming to society, but he is actually living a much more dramatic and exciting life that's in his head. His imagination runs riot under the influence of Edgar Allan Poe, Vincent Price, and he gets drawn further and further into the dark fantasy world. And we have this character of his mother who tries to pull him into the everyday world, one that he's keen to renounce, it seems. So a key theme of Vincent is this struggle between the world of imagination and the world of reason, this duality that we've been talking about, dark and light. And this is a really central theme of Gothic literature. So we talked about the impact of Gothic tradition on Tim Burton. And this theme of the struggle between what's real and what's not was actually also played out in real life during the making of this, when the Disney studios pressured Burton to give Vincent a more upbeat ending. Instead of Vincent finishing the way it did, with us not sure whether his soul is trapped in darkness, like is in Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Some people at Disney wanted something that was a bit more family friendly, where he goes outside and plays football with his father, which really, I guess, shows this real problem that Tim Burton's trying to get us to think about, that there's something that looks good, that looks like the norm. And so this happy ending aesthetic that would look good, but would it actually then just totally undermine everything that Vincent's all about? So Burton has commented that the happy ending actually felt darker to him. He said that it felt more beautiful and more like what was in his mind, which is what the thing was about. It was about somebody's spirit, and to make it literal was, I felt, making it darker ultimately. So let's look at some of the specific things that Burton actually uses to get across some of these themes and the way that he tries to make some points. So we've got some lighting, and you can see there the example of the lighting, that the lighter colours are predominantly in the scenes when he's feigning who he is. He's Vincent Malloy. And so we can see that in the top left, and then you compare that to the bottom right. Okay, we've got those contrasts, and lighting's really only used where it needs to be. The black and white as well. We remember what we saw of Tim Burton when he said that it was almost like you remove one sense and it heightens the other ones, that the black and white actually helps us to understand what is happening better. And it also helps to heighten that contrast. Patterns are used a lot, and often used when he is Vincent Price in that persona. We can see them throughout here, that the patterns are distorted or contrast, very highly contrasting, and the impact that has. Jack Skellington is featured in this picture, in one of these pictures, so have a look and see if you can find him. We have shadows that are used really powerfully as well, and these shadows give us a really good image into what's happening inside of Vincent's mind. Again, it sort of blurs the lines as to what is imagination, what is real, and what is Vincent seeing and what is actually there. And we also look at the camera and how that was used, and the cutting off of adults. So there we've got all the adults that we can see don't have a head. Now, is this a symbol that Burton's trying to show us that we can't see their heads because they don't need to think, because they've had their imagination taken away from them? And also which could possibly explain why we see his little sister down the bottom left there, who possibly still has imagination. That's why she hasn't been cut off. Through this use of camera as well, it shows the hierarchy, this social hierarchy, that he's a 7-year-old boy, he needs to act in a certain way, his mum needs to act in a certain way, and we see the way that she's always standing over him, imposing, always pointing that finger. If we look at the influences of Vincent, one of the major ones is Vincent Price. And I want you to think and be able to comment on, why does Vincent narrate rather than spoken dialogue? Well, the answer's right there. It says that it enables us to go deeper into Vincent's imagination, be able to see it from his point of view. Rather than hearing what his mum says, we see what his mum says through his recount. And Vincent Price's voice actually also supports it, and adds to that Gothic feel to it. He does an amazing job. Now, I don't have the answer for this one written down there. So what do you notice about Price's voice throughout the film? So if you watch it again and notice his voice, what are the changes that happen? And be prepared to comment on that. So another of Burton's influences is the German Expressionism that we've talked about. He uses that chiaroscuro lighting. Apologies if you are Italian for that pronunciation. And what that is it shows the extreme contrast of light and dark. So it's that use of really dark, really light, which actually helps to create dramatic shadows. And we see a couple of examples of it below. Lots of use of reflective surfaces, lots of images of cats, which we also see at the very start. Use of staircases, which are also used, and when Abercrombie and him are out terrorising the streets. Anthropomorphism is when you give human behaviour or form or characteristics to something that is non-human. Those anti-real elements and geometrically absurd set, which we see a lot. The anti-real might come from lots of elements of Vincent that aren't actually believable in terms of the shapes, in terms of the proportion, etc. And the Gothic tradition, the exploration of those themes that I've talked about, the major theme of reality versus imagination. And if we even have a link between Frankenstein's monster, famous Gothic literature there, where the monster's being chased by the angry mob because it doesn't fit into society, we can relate that to Mum telling Vincent to snap out of it because he doesn't fit into society. So that's a little bit of a look at Vincent, a deeper look. Come prepared next lesson to share your thoughts and something else that you might have got out of it. So do your work. See you then.